to my fellow commanders, airmen, and friends. I appreciate you taking time to be here with us today. It is a remarkable thing that we have representatives from 10 different countries here this week. I believe this reflects a sincere commitment to our collective efforts, as has been so well described by the ambassador and by the minister. Partnering with you to enable African solutions to African problems is still our primary philosophy, and capacity building will be the continued focus of what we do here this week. This conference is a prime example of our desire to hear and to learn from the many perspectives our African partners bring to the table. You have heard, we are here to hear and learn, and we are excited to do that. You have the privilege and the challenge of leading your air forces in one of the most dynamic regions of the world, and certainly one of the most dynamic regions of Africa. Your countries have made significant progress towards good governance and economic vibrancy, and your air forces are there as well. The military partnerships we have fostered over the years have met with great successes. For example, the Republic of Senegal and the Vermont Air National Guard have a very strong and enduring relationship, routinely conducting visits, exchanging ideas, and learning from one another in this state partnership program. Additionally, a recent cooperative effort led by members of the Nigerian Air Force, AFAFRICA, and a team of maintainers from the 118th Airlift Wing from Nashville, Tennessee, familiarized Nigerian Air Force maintainers with how to better evaluate and repair Nigeria's C-130H transport aircraft. In an effort to increase education and training opportunities for their non-commissioned officers, Burkina Faso recently conducted a mill-to-mill familiarization with our USAFE Kisling NCO Academy, returning with some valuable tools to grow their enlisted airmen. And I would just take this moment to talk to that. The strength of our U.S. Air Force is in our non-commissioned officers, these men and women who maintain our aircraft and work so hard to keep our airmen aloft, are key to our success. And I embrace and I applaud your efforts to seek after training for your enlisted airmen. Finally, Ghana hosted the first African partnership flight in Accra. It was a resounding success with 156 students from 5 partner nations working together to accomplish training objectives and build lasting partnerships. The positive communication and cooperative nature of the event was evident and could surely lead to both a greater understanding of regional capabilities and regional concerns. But as recent events in Mali have shown, the progress can be fragile. Violent extremist organizations are actively engaged across the region, looking for any opportunity to attack governing bodies and carve out safe havens for themselves within the region. As airmen, you are on the front lines in the global fight against these violent extremist organizations. Organizations like AQIM and Boko Haram are using violence to threaten stability and undermine governments, sowing instability in places we could least afford it. Our common enemy is well equipped and willing to do whatever is necessary to accomplish their objectives. These groups are a viral threat that crosses national borders, as the minister mentioned. They cannot be overcome by a single nation, but require partnerships and significant cooperation. The consequences of insufficient action, I believe, are dire. Our militaries will continue to bear the burden of countering a common enemy by facing strategic and economic challenges, enhancing our air competencies, and seeking out options to forward base air assets and to fight these extremists. In this way, we will conduct an operational framework for cooperation, and that is one of our great goals here this week. We have challenges. Several of these challenges are manifested in this very environment. VEOs cross national borders and blend with the population, giving them initiative in choosing when and where to attack. These organizations will operate in decentralized, transnational manner, taking them on requires a regional approach. No country can do this alone. These groups use fear as a tool to terrorize local populations, instigate unrest, and aim to create political upheaval. We are also facing a tyranny of distance. Your region covers a tremendous landmass, which VEOs can exploit to establish sanctuary, can exploit to establish other places from which we can have many difficulties in reaching them. But you understand these challenges and how to solve them better than we do, because you live them every day. I am excited to hear your counsel on how we can best confront these challenges. We all operate in a resource-constrained environment. Therefore, it is critical that we make the right investments and establish effective partnerships to meet our objectives. A lack of resources can often frustrate these partnerships and efforts to counter these extremists, make it an imperative for us to identify the right requirements and to advocate for the resources needed to build and train the right capabilities. To develop an effective Air Force, there must be a process to identify the threat, assess the requirements, set organizational goals, and then advocate for the resources to meet those goals. The best solution will be your solution, and because your solution is truly the only one that will last. So in looking at the threat environment, what it is like and what it is right for you, we will listen to you as Air Force leaders as you help us to understand how to bring the fight. I know that for many, your Army has the predominant number of forces. In no way does this mean that Air Force does not have an important role to play. Many of you have emphasized the desire to partner with us to strengthen your forces. You have asked us to cooperate with you to develop air forces that are modern and interoperable, so you have the means to execute the full spectrum of air missions, consistent within your goals and your resources. Air power is an extremely expensive proposition, and in trying times it's often difficult. But thinking creatively, thinking actively, seeking cooperative strategies for regional solutions is our practical way forward together. As the senior airman of this region, being able to effectively advocate for the benefits of air power and the return on investment of air power is going to be critical to your success. One of the most important aspects of air power is getting our eyes on the target. This requires developing intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capability, exploiting the intelligence that it provides, and then sharing this with your partners, giving your Army the eyes to find the extremists, giving your navies the eyes to locate the boats. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR, is a critical position of this equation. ISR is not merely the platform packed with sensors and high-tech devices. Rather, it is an entire enterprise of professional airmen processing, sharing, and linking the data to form a clearer picture of events as they unfold. It is an environment of transnational threat. There must be agreements to share information across these borders, and governments must be able to quickly act, react, and pass information to their friends and neighbors. Airlift is also instrumental to enabling combat effectiveness and can project both forces and good governance into areas of contention or areas of great need. Whether it is in response to extremist, natural or man-made disasters, or civil unrest, mobility platforms offer multi-role options to include airlift of supplies and relief in and those who are troubled out. Airlift is an area particularly well suited for building new partnership frameworks. In NATO, we have had the birth of what is called the Heavy Airlift Wing, in which 12 nations went together to pool and buy a small amount of strategic airlift that has now worked magnificently for these 12 nations in sharing that lift, in moving supplies and people. And these, I think, are examples that could be considered here this week in how we would share airlift or how we would share intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Because the preponderance of your nation's military forces are on the ground, it is imperative to legitimize your mission and what you bring to the fight by developing a robust air-to-ground integration capability. As a young captain, Captain Phil Breedlove jumped out of Army helicopters to control Air Force fighter aircraft in support of our ground partners, to meet the ground partners' objectives. This is a skill and an ability that we need to bring from our strong Air Force team to your armies and navies. With a resource-constrained environment, it will be hard for any one country within the region to develop all the capabilities it needs to meet these threats. But by developing partnerships, countries can assist one another, I think, in meeting these requirements. We can best support these efforts by effectively employing our air assets as an air team against these extremists. U.S. presence in Africa could significantly increase the level of cooperation between our militaries and civilian populations, partnering with you to meet mutual objectives and challenges. We are committed to fostering a close relationship with our African partners and look for opportunities to work with you to identify locations and opportunities to monitor these extremist activities in this region. I recognize that what works in one country may not work in another. So we will continue to tailor our engagements and operations according to your requirements and your desires. You, as airmen and leaders, have an important role to play in this battle. But know that we stand ready to help you further develop the capabilities that we all need to win this fight. Regional partnerships are crucial to successfully combating a shared enemy, forging cost-effective solutions to further capabilities, and identifying and developing more and shared basing options. I firmly believe that you as leaders are best suited to address these challenges, and together we will tackle adversity and strengthen your cooperative defense capabilities. Thank you again for attending. I look forward to a great week. I believe that we will be stronger together than we are apart. Thank you.